This game has by and far the best opening sequence ever. Immediately, without even speaking, you are introduced to Connor and know that he is as badass as it gets. In a similar manner, rather than going through a long, boring dialogue sequence telling us how androids are being hated and the society is collapsing, the game sets that tone within a few minutes using a simple line.
Wait. You're sending an android?
All right, ma'am. You need to go.
You can't do that. Why aren't you sending a real person?
Then the game puts you into a timed mission, save the hostage. You barely know how to move and have no idea what sort of game this is. Don't know where you're supposed to go, and still, the game is timing you. It clearly, concisely, and quickly gives you the tutorial on how to play by forcing you to utilize the basic mechanics. Then the game lets you try and play the game at your own pace before you are forced to go confront the assailant. You engage with the assailant using only the information that you have actually managed to acquire. You can't brute force or chance yourself to victory. Further, you can assess the probability of success in real time and get the opportunity to save a policeman and deliver perhaps the coldest line in all of gaming.
You can't kill me! I'm not alive!
Unlike most cinematic experiences, the game doesn't pick a canon outcome. If you fail, you don't get a do-over. You live with your decisions. And that is just the first chapter. What a start. We follow up on this exhilarating demo with a couple of expository chapters. We are introduced to Marcus, who is on a routine errand. Along the way, we find an artist whose sign hits a little too close to home. On our way back, we encounter some demonstrators who, having lost their jobs and livelihoods to androids, take their anger out on Marcus. All of this hits very close to home. This game was brilliant when it came out, but with the current climate with the machine learning, the game has taken on a new form. There are a few games that withstand the test of time, but this is the only game that has improved with time. Up next is Kara. We have already been introduced to her before. She was damaged by a quote-unquote car. She is taken to her home where we get to experience the exhilarating gameplay of Woman Simulator. This chapter also introduces Alice and Todd. One is a shy angel, the other...
Alice! You better stop that right now!
We also discover Todd's little secret and see exactly which car hit Kara. The game also makes a point of showing though Todd is a shit stain, he isn't one-directional. Back to Marcus. We go home and wake Carl, his owner. He's sweet and kind to Marcus and is more of a father and a friend than a master to him. We again get to experience peak gameplay. Actually, not gonna lie, I was enjoying cleaning with Kara. Before a flipping druggie decided to come a sniffing for his next hit. I tell you this because this shows Quantic Dream's brilliance. Rather than having a dialogue sequence where Carl talks about his druggy son or Alice talking about her abusive father, we see it. Much like RDR2, the game doesn't tell, it shows. It also doesn't force an opinion onto you, though almost everyone will form the same opinions. This way, the game sets up the world, the protagonist, the NPCs so well that it never feels forced or boring. After the exposition sequence, we get to play as Connor. This is very clever since having too many expository sequences would have made the game a bit of a slog. But Quantic Dream's brilliant chapter sequencing allows for us to experience the thrilling action with Connor in the middle of the important but boring exposition. This is so incredible that you might think, why doesn't everyone do it? Well, because it's very hard to get right. Rockstar has tried and even they didn't nail it down so well. So kudos Quantic Dream, kudos. As Connor, we get to experience the detective niche, one that has been long forgotten since LA Noire. We hunt down murderers and dangerous deviants, and learn to be a little more human along the way. Or not, that's the brilliance of it. The game has so many choices that everyone will have a different experience, that even the most minute mistakes, those that don't seem relevant at all, could have drastic consequences.
We call this foreshadowing.
The player gets to choose the decisions each character makes, whether they are a machine or a slave. What does that even mean? Whether they are a machine or alive, whether they protect their loved ones or themselves, whether they are peaceful or violent. It's our choice. Oh, and this game's photorealism refuses to lose its beauty. Somehow, despite how quickly photorealism dates, and the game being originally designed for PlayStation 3, the game still looks like it was released just yesterday. The models are near perfect, the surroundings are beautifully crafted, and the animations are flawless. It's not fair to compare this game to open world games, but still, its beauty is enchanting. The reason behind that, if I remember correctly, is that it doesn't use the techniques that are employed by most games. The models are pretty much one-to-one recreations of the actors, and the animation, all of it, is mocap. Now you might be thinking, what's so unique about that? Many games do that. Rockstar has been doing this since the 3D era. And well, you're partly right. Many games use their actors as a base to construct their characters' appearances and use motion capture. However, the motion capture that they use is mostly in cutscenes and some animations in the game. They use animations along with motion capture. And for the character models, they often change their appearance to fit the game's world. Quantic Dream, from my understanding, motion captured every possible action and movement that its characters can make, making it incredibly realistic. Further, each actor motion captured their character, and thus the animations remain consistent, increasing immersion. And let's talk about immersion. One of the most challenging decisions to make in game design is the UI design. How can they make it so that the game is both immersive and clearly shows the player the prompts for input, HUD, and where they need to go? Over the years, we have developed camera and lighting tricks to do this, but Quantic Dream just took a huge leap, and it worked. Remember, we play as robots, computers, clankers, so it's obvious that we would have abilities that humans generally do not, including navigation. When you try to go the wrong way or to a restricted area, rather than just blindly turning your way, breaking immersion, the game shows a pop-up in your vision. And it makes sense. Of course a robot would see huge floating letters or directions dictating where it can and cannot go. Of course, if some area is forbidden, that would become inaccessible. Of course, the characters would be able to compute their actions ahead of time, assess their surroundings in a fraction of a second, and update their calculations in real time. And the input prompts. The game uses a bespoke design for the prompts, and it has this cool 3D effect which makes it feel like the prompt is floating in the game world itself. Further, the prompt shows up where the cinematic director wants your eyes to be. If it's during combat, then it would show up near your body or the threat. If it's during the benign gameplay, then it would show over the item of interest. This way, the player doesn't need to constantly move their eyes all over the place. They remain immersed in the experience. And on the subject of input, the control scheme is just mwah. Turning and twisting the right stick in the direction where you would have to move the object causes you to feel like you are actually holding it. Swiping with both sticks to dodge during action really pumps your blood and gets you to feel the pressure. The sudden appearance of any of the available buttons forces you to be on your toes to avoid death.
What's wrong with you? Are you doing it on
There was a
purpose?
misinput. Calm down! You calm the fuck down! There was a misinput!
And on PlayStation, throwing the entire controller turns your body into the input scheme. Bravo, Quantic Dream. Bravo. Let's do a quick exercise. Think of a game or any piece of media whose story has improved with time. That never happens. Sure, many great stories withstand the test of time, but they don't improve with it. Detroit Become Human shatters that. For the first time, I have come across a game that gets better as time goes by. And the reason is abundantly clear. The story is about androids and AI in general replacing humans. It's a bit reductive, I know, but that's a broad stroke of the setting. Already we are seeing record levels of layoffs and unemployment because shoddy executives are favoring AI over humans. And as technology continues to improve, this will continue to become more and more prevalent. Akin to how cars replaced horses, AI may replace us and leave us in the world portrayed by Detroit Become Human. On top of that, the story asks us to define humanity. Today, with humans going to the brink of World War III nearly twice in 1 year, with nations being at each other's throats, with hate and disregard becoming more and more prevalent, that question, that story beat, hits very close to home. The perspective of androids is a parallel to the perspective of marginalized communities. They are enslaved and mistreated. They have no rights. Even if they show clear signs of intelligence and being alive, they are captured, dismantled, and discarded. But that's the setting. The story, well, there's no one story. The game, in a stroke of brilliance, allows for us to completely define the story ourselves. Will we acquire freedom peacefully or be destroyed by our masters? Will we fight for our liberty or die trying? Will we trust humans or harbor resentment? The story is ours to tell, ours to define. And let's talk a bit about the characters. There are 3 playable characters. the beautiful Kara, the graceful Marcus, and the badass Connor.
Connor, the fuck are you doing?
Gay!
Marcus is our messiah. He leads the clankers to revolution, peacefully or otherwise. He was owned by a caring old man who showed him love and affection as if Marcus was his son. Marcus refuses to live in silence, to live in fear. He encourages the androids to demand their freedom and liberty, without fear of death and persecution. Facing the challenges of leadership, we watch his worries, his inner turmoil. Should he try to continue on the path he has chosen, risking the lives of all of his people, or should he surrender and go back to living in secret, securing the lives of at least some of his fellow comrades? Kara is difficult to define.
FBI, open up!
She and Alice are from a broken home where both were abused regularly. She desperately tries to protect Alice and get her to safety. Being innocent and sweet, she sees the best in people and ends up trusting the wrong people. But despite it all, she manages to keep Alice safe. After seeing countless horrors, Kara eventually cracks under the pressure and makes some questionable decisions to secure her family's safety in Canada. Her storyline is sure to bring anyone living under fear of persecution to tears.
Please. I just want to be free.
And Connor is amazing. He is the best. He is my boy. On a more serious note, Connor's arc is also impressive. This deviant hunter, perhaps a phrase taken from Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards, Jew hunter, accompanied by Mr. Krabs, Hank, has to face severe confusion as he struggles with choosing between his mission and his emotions. Whether he saves Hank, whether he lets some deviants live or escape, whether he helps a deviant in shock, whether he helps Marcus. But it was odd how easily he became deviant, especially when considering the fact that most deviants are awakened by shock.
We call this foreshadowing.
Oh, and don't tell anyone, but there's also a secret fourth playable character. Like I said earlier, we get to define the story, and such there are so many possible endings that I can't even count. The outcome you get is a cumulative result of your choices. I have seen quite a few playthroughs of this game, and I've played this game multiple times myself, and I got an ending that I didn't even know existed. In fact, the ending I got left a bad taste in my mouth, and now I'm really tempted to play the game again to get a different ending. That doesn't mean I didn't like it. I was shocked by the ending and so was quite entertained, and Kara's daring escape north gave me goosebumps. All in all, a great experience.
We are alive.